Hello and welcome to Isaac's Bag of Regrets for June 2025. It's the show where I take my movie purchases over the last month and rate them on a scale from 1 to 5, depending on how much I regret the purchase in retrospect. This last month, I went to a VHS convention, which was a joy. It was so fun to be with all of these really fun cinephiles, collectors. I hadn't seen most of these VHS tapes in the wild before. They were super unique pulls. I don't really remember all of how much I paid for everything. I'm gonna guess at what I paid for these, and if I just have no idea, I'm gonna mark it as $3. So bear with me on that, Fred. But first up, what we got here is Planet of the Apes. This one's got such a fun cover. It looks like a Nickelodeon TV show. This could totally be some 90s kid style American Gladiators tape. But it's not. It's this movie about, the animalistic nature of humanity. And just how beautiful and evil we can be as a society. Love this as a piece of artwork. Love this movie as just a movie. So worth watching. If you haven't watched the original Planet of the Apes, it is a exceptional film, up and down, all around. Just pure, good sci-fi, the way sci-fi is supposed to be. 5 stars, no regrets. Next up, I got Bottle Rocket, Wes Anderson's first ever movie. I think it's really funny, whoever had this before put it in the action category. This is not an action movie. Not even close. Basically, it's about these two guys who are kind of goofball screw-ups in their little Texas town, and it's just really charming. It's fun. It's very 90s, early 2000s indie. He's doing the symmetry stuff. He's doing a lot of the things that Wes Anderson would become known for, but it feels much more typical of its era than it will Wes Anderson's later style. Grand Budapest, this is not. The movie that I am currently writing, Beans and Gordo, is heavily influenced by Bottle Rocket. I basically saw Bottle Rocket and was like, oh, I know what I want to write. Have a lot of love and affection for this movie, which is why I was okay paying $10 for the VHS tape. I never go above $5 for a VHS. It's just not really my thing. Typically, I prefer to watch DVD quality or higher, unless it's a horror VHS or something that is super keyed in and specific to the medium that is VHS. But the inspiration that I will gain from just seeing this around my apartment, it felt worth the $10 to me. Bam. This one, The Hills Have Eyes. A Wes Craven film, another Wes. So this is pre-Nightmare on Elm Street Wes Craven. Has been remade, I think several times at this point. Was a predecessor for Big Things to Come from one of the great horror directors. I paid $10 for this one as well. Again, a little pricey for VHS. 4 stars. I'll give it a 4 star. Not super regretful about it. I'm stoked to own it, so. Cape Fear. This is Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum in a very, funky case that looks a little bit like the Trading Spaces logo. If you remember that old, renovation show from the mid-2000s. I've never seen this version. I love the De Niro Scorsese version. A great kind of Hitchcock homage that movie is. I mostly got this because of the hilarious box art. So 5 stars. I mean, cheap enough that it's so worth. This next one is Inner Space. I heard about this film from the Movie Oubliette podcast. Dan and Conrad are both my friends. I've known them for years. Always trust their opinions on film. And Conrad is a big proponent of Joe Dante. When I saw it, I immediately thought of Conrad. I feel like it's kind of a perfect VHS film, too. It's very, gather around the CRT and watch this kind of vibes, I feel like. Frenzy. I haven't watched it. I know it by reputation as Hitchcock's bloodiest work. It's one of his later periods. He was working in England at the time, not an American-based Hitchcock movie, which was super atypical for his later years as well. 5 stars to Hitchcock's Frenzy. It's Hitchcock for $1. How could I not? How could I not? Next up, we got a spaghetti western for a few dollars more. Sergio Leone. If you don't know, spaghetti westerns are called that because right as the western was dying in the States, it started kind of becoming more popular in Europe, and they took all of these Americans out to Europe and started filming westerns, specifically in Italy. And they would do these westerns for super cheap, and they were way more gritty, way more action-oriented, typically more morally gray characters than your typical American western as well. Gone were the days of, like, bad guys wore black hats and good guys wore white hats. Everybody was wearing the same colored hat in a spaghetti western era. This is the second in a kind of like trilogy from Sergio Leone. The first one is For a Fistful of Dollars. This one's For a Few Dollars More. And the last one is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think the box art on this one is sick to look at. It's painted clearly. Love the titling on it. I just love this cover art, which is mainly why I got it. I don't have like a deep love for spaghetti westerns necessarily, but this is a good one. Important movies, even if they're not typically your thing. I'll give it a 4-star. You know, happy to have it, but not like my favorite purchase of all time. Ooh, okay, this one's solid. This one's gonna be a 5-star pick from me. The Andromeda Strain. Turner Classic Movies would have put on the Andromeda Strain, and I would be locked in. A very intense scientific procedural about essentially airborne illness and these people trying to figure out what the deal is with these people getting sick out in the middle of nowhere. Has some really cool set design, has some really cool costuming that I am utterly obsessed with. If you want to hear me talk about this movie in like deep detail, I did go on the Movie Oubliette podcast and gush all about the Andromeda Strain for like an hour. So, $3, 5 stars. Another Turner Classic Movies old school Isaac sci-fi pick, The Time Machine, the 1960s Time Machine. What a weird movie this one is. It is bizarre, but bizarre in a fun way, bizarre in a cool way, because of my nostalgia for it and the box art, which is so campy and fun. Like, even the picture is like a little wonky on it. I have to give this 5 stars. I have to. Oh, okay, yeah. This one I'm gonna have to censor maybe a little bit on YouTube, I'm not sure. Guillermo del Toro's first movie, Kronos. This naked woman on this cover is nowhere to be seen in the movie. This movie is about an aging grandpa who uses a golden trinket that looks like a scarab beetle to turn into a vampire. It's a great movie, a lot of nuance to it. Another movie that I talked about on the Movie Oubliette podcast. They clearly did not know how to market this movie. It's a very nuanced movie. It's a very atypical movie, especially for the time period. And I think it's so funny that they thought, well, the way that we do that is we just put a naked woman on the cover. They're painting it as this like sensual horror movie. It is not like that. It is gross. People's skin fall off in Kronos. So, keep that in mind. I love it a lot. It's so great to watch the first film from a director that you love. It really gives you a sense of perspective about your own work. At least it does for me. When I watch stuff like Kronos, when I watch stuff like Bottle Rocket, I'm always kind of like encouraged, like, oh, hey, this is a more attainable thing. 5 stars for the Kronos VHS. Next up, I got this really cool version of the Blair Witch Project. It doesn't say the name The Blair Witch Project anywhere. It's just marketed as the in-universe movie Curse of the Blair Witch that the kids were working on. Even the label here says Curse of the Blair Witch. It was a Blockbuster copy. Please remember to rewind. Like I've said several times, the Blair Witch Project I think is just such a cool, interesting case study for filmmaking. Not a great movie, but a very cool transmedia project that I have only grown more and more obsessed with over time. The more I hear about stuff like Night Mind and Unfiction and that whole realm, the more I am enamored with the Blair Witch Project. 5 stars from me. Last VHS from the VHS swap meet is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Peter Weller, John Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd's in this movie. Jeff Goldblum in the far right. Jeff Goldblum's character in this is so wacky. He's like a cowboy. Essentially, this was made to kind of feel like you were entering into a TV show halfway through it, or like reading a comic that you had no context for the rest of the series with. You're not meant to understand a lot of the stuff that happens in it. You're meant to just kind of like take it all at face value and roll with it. It's a comedy, it's a sci-fi movie, it's so campy, it's so over the top. Again, really influential, I think, to a lot of people. That whole crew of 90s dudes, your Tarantinos, your Robert Rodriguez's, your Wes Andersons, they all watched Buckaroo Banzai and they took stuff from it. I mean, if you watch Life Aquatic, the ending of Life Aquatic is basically the same ending as Buckaroo Banzai. Wes Anderson just lifted that, as he should. It's a great ending. What do I rate it? Grand scheme, I'm giving her a 5. That is all of VHS tapes. We're gonna move on to the DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm gonna start with the stuff that I got from the swap meet, because there were people selling DVDs there too. The first is my first ever 1-star pick. 1 star for Mars Attacks. Super iconic alien designs. So many famous people in it. I mean, look at all these famous people. That's crazy. But, unfortunately, I took it home, I opened the case up, and the disc is so scratched, it's not even, there's no way that it plays. What can I give this other than a 1 star? It's a worthless piece of plastic. Even the case isn't a good case. It's the paper garbage case. This is terrible. This is nothing. Nothing. Moving on. This is actually a 1-star pick too. Krull. This was a movie oubliette pull. It's like a Star Wars knockoff. I believe Dan and Conrad had some interesting and good things to say about it. What happened with this movie is I was looking at this guy's booth. He was super nice. Everybody at the VHS Hall meet was so cool and nice. I had such a good time. But I was looking through his booth and he was talking to me and I was like, oh, how much for Krull, right? And he told me $10 and I felt my social anxiety took over and I just bought it. Well, that's not a good healthy way to live your life. You know, I didn't really want this movie, especially not for $10. I'm sure Krull is fine. I know that it's a lot of people's deep cut pick, and that's great. But like, I just don't care about this movie. If I'm gonna watch it, I'll watch it on streaming, and then if I like it from that point forward, I would have bought it. But a blind buy for $10 of this movie that is basically like a worse Star Wars at best. No, what was I thinking? What was I doing? I'll tell you what, I was thinking, oh my god, this guy just talked to me, and if I don't buy this, he's gonna be disappointed. That is not the way an adult should think. That is not healthy. 1-star pick for Krull. 1-star pick for Krull. A shameful act. A shameful purchase. At last of the VHS swap films is Apocalypto, Mel Gibson movie. I know I watched this as a kid on a TV channel. I was not allowed to watch rated R movies, but for some reason I was allowed to watch this and definitely saw it as a kid, as a little boy, and remember it being very intense. I haven't seen it as an adult. I'm interested to see how it was going to hold up. It was an impulse purchase, but it was cheap enough impulse purchase that I don't feel bad or guilty about it. I feel like for $1, I'll rate the Apocalypto 4 stars. Next up, we're going to go through some Goodwill picks. The Goodwills in San Antonio are honestly not that great. I used to love going to Goodwill when I was living in Illinois. It was like my favorite thing to do. Listen to music, listen to a podcast, and wander around Goodwills for hours, for days. I spent so much time at Goodwill. And then when I moved to San Antonio, all the Goodwills here kind of suck. I think the thing is people are more into Goodwill, and so I rarely find good things. And also, they're like most of the time not as well taken care of. But, you know, I did end up going. There's one that's really close to my house, and there, I was in the mood. I was in a Goodwill mood. Big Trouble in Little China. I've never seen it before. I know it's a John Carpenter movie. I really love so much of John Carpenter's work, and I already own Escape from New York, which I also haven't seen yet, but I know that they work in tandem together. They're both Snake Plissken movies or whatever. I was like, okay, well, this is a good purchase. This is a good solid pick, because I'll just watch them all together. Good choice, Past Isaac. Next up on the docket, another collection completer, Clerks 2. I own Clerks 1 and I own Clerks 3, but I don't own Clerks 2. And so when I saw it at the Goodwill, I was like, yeah, why not? In terms of quality, I'm not the biggest Clerks 2 fan. I love Clerks 1, era-defining comedy, but Clerks 2 kind of falls into that sequel trap, I feel like, where a lot of the stakes get bigger, but the heart of the characters just isn't as clear or as strong. Still a good movie. It's not a trash movie. It's just not as good as Clerks 1, which, that's a hard thing to follow up, Clerks. I'll give us a 4-star because although I'm not sure when I'm going to watch it again, I am glad that now I have the full set. Next up, I got a movie recommended to me by my friend Tatiana, Green Book. This was a Best Picture winner. Really pissed some people off when it won Best Picture, mostly because of its racial politics. I don't know what else to say about that. That's just true. But my friend Tati said, Isaac, you should really watch Green Book. I love this movie. And so I trust Tati, and I wanted to see it. At the end of the day, you have to make your own choices. You can't just go off of what, everybody is saying. I think it's valuable to watch movies with discourse around them so that you can actually speak into that discourse and not just be like, oh, well, I heard this thing. That's not being a productive consumer of art. $4 is a little steep for a movie that I know a lot of people really don't like, but I feel like it's going to be worth it in the end because I'll be able to talk about it with Tati, and I'll be able to talk about it into the void, and whenever it comes up in conversation, I'll just be able to speak to it, and that'll be fun. Got a double pack in this one, Bridge on the River Kwai and the Guns of Navarone. Guns of Navarone, Gregory Peck movie, Bridge on the River Kwai, another Best Picture winner. When I saw this in the Goodwill, I was like, heck yeah, dude, of course. So I feel like with that kind of an energy, right, and looking back on it now, I just feel like it was a good purchase. For $2 a movie, 5 stars. Yeah. Yeah. What? 5 stars. I don't know why that felt like I was arguing with myself, but whatever. Okay. We have reached the CD Exchange 10 movies for $10 deal. I got another 1-star pick to kick things off. Ghost World, I haven't watched it. It is a movie that I am desperate to watch, that I'm really excited about. Scarlett Johansson and a lot of really other cool people. It seems really fun and interesting, but I'll tell you what, I already own this movie. So it is in fact a dual pick. It is worthless to me. I do have a spreadsheet where I list out all the movies that I own, but I hadn't updated it. Even though it only cost me $1, it is still a worthless throwaway of my money. It's like I left $1 on the street. And also now somebody else who could have owned Ghost World will not own Ghost World. Which is a bummer to me. Ooh, this was a good pull. This technically wasn't part of the 10 for 10. This was $6, but it's the first 4 Tremor movies. I've seen the first one with Kevin Bacon. I loved it. I would have paid this price just for the first Tremors. It's so good. It's about essentially this little town in the middle of nowhere that's get attacked by subterranean worms. Creature feature of the highest order. I love Tremors. You should totally watch it, and I can't wait to dig into the sequels with this box set. Fifth Element? I've never seen The Fifth Element, which is crazy because everybody I've ever talked to about this movie has told me, Isaac, you're gonna love The Fifth Element. I am stoked to finally get my hands on it and really watch it. 5 stars for this purchase, no regrets. I'm totally going to see it, and it was dirt cheap. I'm gonna take these off. This is kind of getting distracting. Creed and Creed 2, both for $1, which means 50 cents a movie. I haven't seen either of them. I love Michael B. Jordan, though. I actually haven't even seen Rocky. But I just felt like this is a deal that I could not pass up. Even if these movies are trash, for 50 cents a disc, it's such a steal. This is a childhood classic for me. The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. Back in the day, this was like a big internet meme thing. Nicolas Cage gets trapped in a cage, and he starts screaming, "Not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!" as these like CGI bees swarm his face. Oh man, I watched so many bad Nicolas Cage movies with my friends growing up. It was so much fun. I'm happy to re-experience the moment of this piece of pop culture history. The guy who made Beavis and Butthead and also King of the Hill directed this movie called Office Space. I've never seen it. A lot of people really love it, and because so many people love it, I felt like I should give it a shot. To be honest, the clips online and from what I have seen of it, it doesn't really seem like my kind of movie. But maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know. I felt like for $1, I could give it a shot and be confident in that. 3 stars, because I am buying something that I think I will probably not enjoy, but it was cheap enough to justify. So yeah. Hey. I loved Lindsay Lohan. We all did. If you didn't, you're a liar. She was so charming. She's so great. I mean, she still is probably. I haven't seen a Lindsay Lohan movie in so long. But this was like right at that peak of the era, a movie where about this woman who is so lucky, everything in her life just goes right, and then all of a sudden she loses all of her good luck after she meets this guy, and she just can't figure out what happened, and she just can't get her life together. It was very charming at the time. I have no idea if it's good now. It could suck now. Gosh, a very of its era movie. Is this Chris Pine in this movie? That's Chris Pine! I just noticed the man is Chris Pine. Wild. I had no idea that's who that was in that with her. This one's a 5-star pick because major nostalgia bomb for me. So next up we got Made. Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, buddy gangsters. I bought it so that I could watch it for Beans and Gordo reference. And also just because I love Jon Favreau, like, Swingers is it's so good. And I mean, this kind of just looks like Swingers 2. I'll call it 4 stars. I'll call it 4 stars. Next up, we got Walk the Line, Joaquin Phoenix, James Mangold. Kind of the first movie that really kicked off the musician biopic craze. It's about Johnny Cash. This was the movie that Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, parodied and has kind of ruined all musician biopics for me forever. Like, we've seen so many versions of this film. I felt like, why not go back to the source? See what it's all about. Am I stoked to own this? No, not really. Do I think I'm going to enjoy it? No, not really. I'll give it a 3-star. I'm gonna give it a 3-star pick. A 2-star pick elevates itself to a 3-star pick with being cheap enough. That is how I feel about it. Next up, we got a Jet Li movie, Fearless. 2000s Kung Fu is pretty peak. It's all really fun. They're playing with like CGI and wire fu and stuff like that. I love Crouching Tiger. I love House of the Flying Daggers. I love Hero. I love that era of Kung Fu. It's so much fun. It's so zany. It's so larger than life. And I hope that this movie has like big moments like that in it. I'll call this 4 stars. There Will Be Blood, Paul Thomas Anderson. When I watched this movie the first time, I didn't really get it, and I haven't really seen it since. Like, to be honest, the performances in it are really intense, but, you know, I just didn't enjoy it a lot. I'm happy to give it another shot. I know for a lot of people, There Will Be Blood is like their Bible. Like, people love this movie. I'll call this one a 4-star. 4-star. Because again, I feel like I should give it a fair shot. Like, I was always gonna rewatch this. Might as well own it. Oh, okay. Here we got throwing stuff. That's how you know it's a good video. Here we have Don't Breathe. I have heard tale that this is kind of like a modern classic. This is like a movie that gets brought up in terms of like when you think about the best movies from the 2010s, and I hear Don't Breathe get brought up a lot. I have no concept of this movie. I don't know what it's about. I don't know who's in it. I don't know anything about it. So this is blinder than a blind buy. This is like super blind buy. I'll give this a 4-star because it really feeds into my curiosity. So next up, I bought a couple of movies, Devil in the Blue Dress and Thin Red Line. What do they have in common? Well, they're both Criterion movies, that these are not the Criterion versions. I am interested to watch these movies, especially Devil in a Blue Dress. I've been on a big Denzel Washington kick for like a year and a half now. But in this way, they are not $40 a piece or $20 when they're half off. So, and look, if I love them, I'll buy the Criterion version too. Don't put it past me, Criterion. I'm not skipping out on you for real. I'm just giving it a test ride. I can give things a test ride, right? Yeah, five star for both of these. Happy to own them, and excited to watch them. You've Got Mail. Pure as the driven snow. I watched this movie recently. It's still so good. Nora Ephron does things to me, man. It makes me believe in things. I just am so smitten by You've Got Mail. Meg Ryan is so good in it. Tom Hanks is so good in it. It's so sweet. It's so thoughtful. It's so of a time. I love it when a movie decides to firmly plant its roots in the modern day, because now this film is a time capsule. You watch it back and you're like, oh my gosh, this is how people live their lives. We love watching this movie. My whole family loves this movie. I couldn't believe I didn't own it already. So 5 stars for You've Got Mail. If you're feeling bad right now, look, there's a lot of things to feel bad about. You've Got Mail. It will help. You've Got Mail, French Kiss, Sleepless in Seattle. Watch this stuff. It will help. It just will. Trust me. So this is a movie I've seen a lot of clips of, but have never watched. Snatch. Guy Ritchie movie. I know it's such a dude thing to love Guy Ritchie, but like, his movies are fun. I'm sorry, they are. Snatch was like one of the films that really set him apart in his early era. It was like this, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Rock and Rolla is one from him. And then Guy Ritchie did Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. Just very kinetic, super engaging, smart, dumb movies. Movies that talk really smart, but itch the dumb part. I love Guy Ritchie. This man's such an entertainer. My stack's getting kind of big over here. Deja Vu, Denzel Washington film. Jerry Bruckheimer directing. Very 2000s movie. The way this depicts the digital world is fascinating and overwhelming. Definitely something that would like show up on FX all the time, and in the rewatch is still utterly charming and like a good time. It delivers what it promises. That's ultimately, I think, what you want from movies. You want to walk into a movie and be like, oh, what is this about? And then it'd be better than what you thought it would even be. And that is Deja Vu. Next up, I got Sin City, Robert Rodriguez movie. I have been watching through a lot of Robert Rodriguez's films. I saw him when I went to South by Southwest. I listened to a talk by him. He does really fascinating work. I loved Spy Kids growing up. I love Boba Fett episode of Mandalorian that he directed. I love Desperado. And yeah, I just like a lot of this guy's stuff, and I've never seen Sin City. Back in that era where comic book movies were not necessarily super typical, and they were still really intertwined with the concept of comic book. And from what I have heard and know about Sin City, this is like the most comic book movie that's ever been made. I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. Next up, I got Sideways. This is an early film from Fox Searchlight, one of my favorite little indie labels. I think the people who have overseen that over the past decades or however long Fox Searchlight has existed, they pick some really interesting stuff. So I'll call this a 4-star pick, impulse buy. Honestly, let's go down to 3 stars. It was an impulse buy. I hope it's good, though. It looks good. Last film of the day, Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise. This was Steven Spielberg's answer to 9/11. I mean, this and like Munich were his like 9/11 movies. I mean, Spielberg is always interesting. Let me tell you this right up and down. People need to start giving Steven Spielberg more credit. I feel like the younger generations have no idea about Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is one of, if not the greatest director of all time, in my opinion. His stuff is so dynamic, interesting, heartfelt, gorgeous to look at. Some of the best movies that have ever been made were made by Steven Spielberg. I think the younger generation just like, they don't know Indiana Jones. Like, they might know Jurassic Park. They don't know The Terminal, though. They don't know Catch Me If You Can, E.T., Saving Private Ryan. They don't know Minority Report. They don't know Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That movie is so good. People need to watch more Spielberg. People need to watch more Spielberg. He makes art that is so consumable, so entertaining. The man's a genius, and yeah, I'm gonna watch the heck out of this one. That's everything. That is all. This one was a long one. I really appreciate you watching these videos. They're really fun for me to make. I really enjoy making them. If you want to, you can follow me on Letterboxd. You can see my thoughts on some of these movies after I've actually watched them. That's about it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Sick. Love that. Love it.